The Cosby Show was more than just a popular sitcom for millions of people in the late 1980s and early 1990s. It was a significant cultural event. Phylicia Rashad was essential to its success. As Clair Huxtable, the elegant, wise matriarch who was hailed as one of the most adored mothers on television. With heart and humor, the sitcom changed how African American families were portrayed. Rashad, who is now 77, is considering the reality that lies behind the scenes. She has recently provided unique insights into the demands of maintaining the show's reputation, the environment on set, and the complex legacy of its star, Bill Cosby. She allows us to see the world behind the cameras for the first time. One characterized by loyalty, challenges, and silent strength. "You don't get to play Clair Huxtable by accident," Phylicia once remarked. "You must carry history in your voice, hold your place with purpose, and move with a particular grace." She is correct. Phylicia Rashad is more than just a well-liked actress. She is a powerful icon because of her sense of gravity, dignity in her voice, grace in her stance, and depth behind her gaze. We must start at the beginning in order to comprehend why she continues to be admired throughout generations and maintains such a strong influence in American culture today. A young girl from Texas who was influenced by language, music, and the belief that art might uplift people's spirits existed before the celebrity, Broadway applause, and primetime popularity. A childhood and early life influenced by brilliance. On June 19, 1948, Phylicia Rashad was born in Houston, Texas, as Phylicia Ayres Allen. Out of the 4 children, she was the second. In an exceptionally bright and talented family. Her mother, Vivian Ayres, was a poet, playwright, and scholar who was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. She instilled in her children a respect for literature, culture, and the arts. As an orthodontist, her father, Andrew Arthur Allen, placed a strong emphasis on excellence, education, and discipline. Her childhood was full with creativity and ambition because, despite her parents' early divorce, the principles they taught their kids lasted. Debbie Allen, her sister, would even become a renowned director and choreographer. With books, music, and conversations that pushed them to think critically and fantasize without fear, their home served as a laboratory or safe place for expression. Regretfully, Houston in the 1950s and 1960s was not always receptive to black achievement, in contrast to today. The Ayres Allen family, however, did not back down in the face of racial injustice. During Phylicia's adolescent years, Vivian Ayres sent her kids to Mexico to expose them to a different world where their abilities could be developed without the restrictions of segregation and to escape the racism of the Jim Crow South. Despite being out of the ordinary, that brave gesture influenced Phylicia's perspective on the world and herself in general. Phylicia believed she was destined to perform from a young age. She threw herself into everything, whether it was dancing, theater, or music. Because she saw the stage as the hallowed site where truth and narrative could meet, she was especially drawn to it. In 1970, she earned a degree in theater with honors of magna cum laude from Howard University, and she immediately entered the workforce. Her early development into the lady she would become was greatly influenced by Howard. It served as a testing ground for black greatness in addition to being a college. She received instruction from notable people and established an attention-grabbing stage persona. There, she established the intellectual rigor that would set her work apart for decades to come, honed her voice, and perfected her craft. Phylicia gained her reputation in theater before becoming well-known on television. She had parts in Dreamgirls, The Wiz, and Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death during her early Broadway career. But these weren't the only ones she had. Few black females at the period had the opportunity to play in more classically based works, such Greek and Shakespearean dramas. After her third marriage to NFL player and sportscaster Ahmad Rashad in the late 1970s, she consciously chose to take the surname Rashad. Despite the eventual dissolution of their union, the moniker would come to represent her strength, grace, and intelligence. She had a reputation for being both technically proficient and emotionally present on stage, consistently assuming roles that were both profoundly human and spiritually meaningful. As a black woman on Broadway who gave multi-layered performances in venues where people of color were still frequently treated with distrust, she was in many respects ahead of her time. She did more than simply open doors. As she passed past them with such grace and force that others felt obliged to follow, she made her presence known. Her presence, not simply her acting prowess, was what set her apart. She exuded a sense of graceful comfort that demanded respect without asking for it. She could be heard without raising her voice. People paid attention when she spoke, whether it was on film, in a classroom, or in a rehearsal space. She was a logical option for parts requiring a stage aura of teachers, mothers, counselors, or spiritual advisors because of her capacity to exude warmth and intellect. Her performances always had an air of refinement, even royalty. She had the ability to make Grace feel comfortable and accessible. She didn't merely take as her career flourished. She returned the favor. She rose to prominence as a director in the 1990s and 2000s, especially in the theater industry. She did a fantastic job directing productions of August Wilson's plays, such as Gem of the Ocean and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. As dean of the Chadwick Ebb Boseman College of Fine Arts, she also made a comeback to Howard University. A moment of complete circle. That demonstrated her dedication to fostering the next wave of Black artists. As dean, she encouraged students to view their work as a part of a larger story by emphasizing cultural responsibility in addition to creative brilliance. It is not hyperbole to state that her example has served as an inspiration to numerous generations of Black performers. She has taught, encouraged, and mentored hundreds of pupils, many of whom have succeeded in television, movies, and theater. Her impact in this area is incalculable. Unquestionably, a career this lengthy and illustrious is also embellished with several honors and distinctions. Phylicia has amassed a number of accolades over her career, which attests to her excellence. Her performance as Lena Younger in A Raisin in the Sun earned her the 2004 Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play, making her the first Black woman to do so. For many who followed her, that performance served as a masterclass in self-control, emotion, and dignity. In addition, she has received BT Honors, Drama Desk nominations, and Dondo ACP Image Awards, and the Lucille Lortel Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in 2016. She began a new phase in her leadership and teaching career in 2021 when she was named Dean of the College of Fine Arts, her alma mater. Phylicia has endured in a field that frequently strives for freshness and youth. She still performs in films and TV shows. Most recently, she appeared in Empire and This Is Us. David Makes Man, as well as flicks like Soul and Creed. She contributes the same dignity, insight, and emotional accuracy that characterized her previous work to each of these. Her significance extends beyond her stage appearances. She embodies a type of excellence and aspiration that many, particularly Black women, turn to for direction in the era of social media, cultural conversation, and racial reckoning. Unapologetically, she is Black. Unreservedly intelligent and well-rooted in her cultural and spiritual roots. Phylicia Rashad is famous today for more reasons than her resume. It's what she stands for. She serves as a reminder of the value of depth, grace, and patience in a world full of spectacle and noise. Many people, especially Black women, view her as a cultural role model because she embodies strength without being harsh. Intelligence without pretense and elegance without ego. The kind of elder that every community needs is now hers. Someone who now illuminates the path for others after having walked the path with integrity. From Houston to Broadway, from primetime television to leadership at a university, her path is more than simply a career, it's a legacy. Despite all of the respect and applause she receives, Phylicia's narrative has a more nuanced, contentious, and intricate connection to one of the most cherished and problematic television programs. Before we can really comprehend her legacy, we must examine the part that made her famous throughout the world, The Cosby Show. We will also examine the costs and meanings of being the face of a dream based on complex realities. Remember that before the world knew Clair Huxtable, Phylicia was already a powerful force. The contentious Cosby Show that shaped a generation and had a multifaceted effect on her. Few could have foreseen the magnitude of the cultural upheaval that was about to occur in American television in the late 1980s. The Cosby Show caused the change. A sitcom based on comedian Bill Cosby's idea of a prosperous, loving Black family. The act of carrying out that idea became a national phenomenon. In addition to its popularity, The Cosby Show changed how Americans thought about Black families, making it one of the most influential and successful television shows ever. Phylicia Rashad was the main character in that groundbreaking portrayal. A woman who embodied Clair Huxtable with unparalleled grace, intelligence, and emotional nuance. However, The Cosby Show was only a concept before she became Clair and before Thursday night viewing became an appointment. One that would ultimately change the cultural environment for a whole generation, not just television. Bill Cosby came up with the concept for The Cosby Show because he wanted to show a realistic, good picture of a black family that was based on love, discipline, and upward mobility rather than the typical disparaging or negative depictions. Black families were mostly portrayed on television in the 1970s through hyper-stylized dramas that did not adequately examine class, intelligence, and family structure, or working-class programs like Good Times or Sanford and Son. The perspective of a stable, professional, upper-middle-class black household was rarely the focus of these shows, despite the fact that they provided significant visibility. Bill had a different idea, a sitcom that would depict his own life as a prosperous, college-educated black man with 2 kids growing up in a 2-parent home. The Huxtables would be a family that is accessible but aspirational, where the parents worked as professionals, a lawyer and a doctor. Since the kids were all different, the humor was based on love rather than disorder. At first, this idea was viewed with suspicion. NBC network executives weren't sure if viewers, particularly white viewers, would enjoy a show about a prosperous black family that didn't follow well-known media cliches. Nevertheless, Bill Cosby persisted, demanding that the show's foundation be subtlety and authenticity rather than slapstick or caricature. Eventually, that vision would serve as the cornerstone of a cultural powerhouse. One of the most important choices made by the producers as they started to put together the cast was who would portray the family matriarch, Clair Huxtable. The part required an actress who could rival Bill Cosby's charisma without being overpowered, someone who could exude strength, sophistication, warmth, and wit. Being funny wasn't enough. The actress had to be equally compassionate and authoritative. The role was originally intended to be that of a stay-at-home mother. Phylicia's audition, however, changed that. There was no denying her presence. She exuded intelligence, moved with composed assurance, and talked with a grace and rhythm that instantly changed the producer's perception of Clair. After seeing her audition, Cosby reportedly reinvented the character as a lawyer, raising her from helpful housewife to equal intellectual partner in the Huxtable household. Phylicia brought with her a vast history in theater, which lent dimension to her performance. She wasn't just acting in front of a live audience. She was portraying a kind of woman that had rarely been seen on television, and from her very first scene, it was evident she was Clair Huxtable. The Cosby Show aired on NBC on the 20th of September, 1984. By the end of its first season, it was a tremendous hit, sitting at number 3 in the Nielsen ratings. By its second season, it was number 1, and it would remain at the top for 5 straight years. An incredible accomplishment for any show on television. The appeal went viral right away. While white viewers saw a picture of black family life that defied conventional narratives, black audiences saw themselves in the Huxtables in a way that they had rarely seen before. There was nothing unusual about the Huxtables. They were just a real, visually appealing, and black family. The show's unique cultural origins and global themes were what made it so brilliant. The Huxtable family gained notoriety. A homely and realistic atmosphere was created by the brownstone, jazz records, sweaters, dancing routines, and sincere conversations. Phylicia was captivating in her role as Clair Huxtable. She wasn't your typical TV mother. She was the era's TV mom. Clair was a brilliant, accomplished lawyer who managed to juggle her work and parenting without compromising her dignity or her authority. She wasn't a background character or her husband's comedic counterpoint. She shared Cliff's humor, firmness, and talent. Being able to be a professional, a parent, a companion, a romantic, and a disciplinarian was what made Clair special. Her interactions with Bill were characterized by chemistry and respect for one another. Her interactions with the kids, particularly when she gave them scathing yet affectionate reprimands, were legendary on television. Perhaps most memorable was Phylicia's portrayal of Clair as a lady who demanded respect with an intellectual mastery that made every word matter, rather than by being nasty or shouting. She was honest, with cool authority, and people remembered that. It was more than just amusement. For many young black women growing up in the 1980s, it was a life-changing experience. They saw a version of themselves in Clair that they never thought was conceivable. More than just ratings success was achieved by The Cosby Show. It changed how black families are seen in society. The Huxtables offered an alternative reality that had always existed but had not received attention from the mainstream media, shattering the worn-out cliché of the fractured black household. The stereotype of the controlling, emotionally aloof mother or the passive, mute black woman was particularly challenged by Clair's character. Rather, she was soft yet firm, authoritative yet tender, and gorgeous yet grounded. She contributed to redefining what television representations of black femininity may look like. Young black viewers across the nation saw opportunities when they watched The Huxtables. All of a sudden, college seemed more attainable. Marriage seems to be rewarding rather than taxing. Instead of conflict and survival, parenthood was presented as a path of development and love. Thursday nights became special for many households. A moment to come together, have fun, and be noticed. The show's impact on education was also noticeable. The Cosby Show's steady praise of black academic achievement and upbeat depictions of college life were major factors in the surge in admissions to historically black schools and universities during its peak. Black achievement felt normalized, not just aspirational. Phylicia was more than simply a line-reading actress off-camera. She had a crucial role in the tone and message of the show. Her professionalism and presence on set were well known. She contributed to upholding an excellence-focused culture. Members of the cast have frequently discussed the familial atmosphere that existed behind the scenes, where she was a key player. Her contribution to Clair's character development increased as the seasons went on. She made sure Clair remained the show's intellectual and emotional core and never relegated to a supporting role. Phylicia brought balance and carried the show's heart, even though Bill Cosby was the originator and star. She became a national icon of black professional womanhood and parental wisdom over the 8-season run from 1984 to 1992. For her work, she was nominated for an Emmy and won an NAACP Image Award. More significantly, though, she established herself as a lasting cultural icon. She served as many people's mother, aunt, teacher, and compass. Decades after the show's conclusion, its cultural impact is still evident today. The Cosby Show has a strong influence on everything from sitcoms like Blackish and The Bernie Mac Show to contemporary dramas like This Is Us. Clair Huxtable continues to set the standard for excellence in television performance and writing. Despite her imperfections, she was a complete person. And that was revolutionary in and of itself. Her on-screen persona cleared the way for innumerable subsequent depictions of black women. The show presented America with a multi-layered, affectionate, and humorous picture of a black family. And utterly human. Phylicia Rashad served as its emotional center, intellectual fulcrum, and moral compass. She helped millions of viewers rethink what it meant to be a black woman for 8 years. Even now, the vision is still relevant. Whether she was fighting a matter in court, giving a harsh reprimand to one of her kids, or spending some peaceful time with her spouse, she accomplished it with a genuineness and grace that left a lasting impression. It's more difficult to predict The Cosby Show's future phase. The ensemble, particularly her, was impacted by the turmoil that would subsequently surround Bill Cosby, which made many rethink everything the show had stood for. The divisive shadows over Phylicia Rashad and the cast's enduring effects and the legacy of The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show, a groundbreaking depiction of a stable black family full of humor and love, was a towering cultural beacon of black excellence for almost 10 years. It inspired a generation and transformed American television. Unfortunately, a string of accusations and legal disputes that led the show's creator and star, Bill Cosby, into public humiliation permanently damaged the show's legacy in the years after its conclusion, particularly in the middle of 2010. One man's decline was followed by a collective reckoning for the cast, viewers, and a larger society that had placed such a high value on the show's portrayal. Phylicia Rashad was among the most impacted. Her portrayal of the elegant and sage Clair Huxtable had earned her admiration for a long time. And now all of a sudden she was caught in a storm that she had not caused yet was unable to leave. The actual eruption started in 2014 when comedian Hannibal Buress openly named Bill Cosby a molester during a stand-up routine in Philadelphia, despite years of rumors and murmurs. It became a viral comment. And in a matter of weeks, long-standing claims of sexual assault reappeared, some of them freshly brought, some of them previously rejected or privately resolved. The tale was swiftly taken up by the media, and the story spread like wildfire. More than 60 women from all throughout the nation came forward with claims of sexual misconduct, substance abuse, and other offenses. And more serious charges that date back to the 1960s and the early 2000s. Even many who had long admired him were shocked by the sheer volume and regularity of the reports. He faced criminal charges in Pennsylvania by 2015 for an event with Andrea Constan, a former employee of Temple University. He was given a sentence of 3 to 10 years in jail after being found guilty on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault in 2018. Later, in 2021, the conviction was reversed on a legal technicality rather than the case's merits. Even though the conviction was reversed, his reputation and the memory of the show had already suffered. The rest of the Cosby Show cast was affected by the court proceedings, but Bill was the main focus. The audience now saw actresses like Kishia Knight-Pulliam, Sabrina LaBeouf, Tempesty Bledsoe, and Malcolm Jamal Warner's seminal work through a prism of mistrust, grief, and perplexity. The show's syndications were shut down. Reruns were taken from the rotation by TV Land, Bounce TV, and other networks. The royalties stopped coming in. Everyone wanted nothing to do with what had once been a source of pride and a body of work that represented cultural representation and familial harmony, but now it was deemed radioactive. Most of the cast members said very little. Those who spoke out carefully, such as Malcolm Jamal Warner, bemoaned the loss of a legacy that had meant so much to so many people and expressed their sympathy for the victims. In an interview from 2018, he stated that the job we accomplished, the legacy we left, and the doors we opened now seem to have been overshadowed. Phylicia Rashad's response, however, attracted more attention and criticism than any other. Phylicia's first reaction to the accusations was adamant and divisive. "Forget these women," she said in a 2015 interview with Showbiz 411, dismissing the mounting charges. "What you're witnessing is a legacy being destroyed. And I believe it's planned." Many were taken aback. Critics believed that a lady who had long been respected for her advocacy and poise had abandoned victims of sexual assault. Given her reputation as a role model for women, especially black women, several thought that her remarks were a betrayal. Phylicia's ongoing defense of Bill became a cause of contention as additional evidence came to light and a criminal conviction was rendered. Finally, a terrible wrong is being righted, she tweeted in 2021 when his conviction was overturned. Justice is restored after a miscarriage. The reaction was quick. Accountability was required by the professors and students at Howard University, where she had just been named dean of the Chadwick A. Boseman College of Fine Arts. Many believed that her remarks made fun of survivors' suffering and conveyed a negative message to the youth she was leading. Days later, she released a clarifying statement in which she said, "I completely support survivors of sexual assault coming forward. I didn't mean for my post to be disrespectful to their reality." Additionally, Howard University issued a statement restating its dedication to survivors. Even though no disciplinary action was taken, The Cosby Show's demise was more than just a celebrity issue. Cultural memory had collapsed. The Huxtables have represented promise, advancement, and hope for many years. In a media landscape that all too frequently depicted black life in limited strokes, they were a welcome change. Viewers were now experiencing cognitive dissonance. How could a guy capable of such serious harm have created a performance that meant so much and benefited so many? What did that signify for the other members of the cast? Many of them were unaware of his behavior off-screen. It was considerably more complicated for Phylicia. She had served as the moral core of the program. She was the object of people's trust. Her support of Bill Cosby was not just viewed as loyalty, it was also interpreted, correctly or incorrectly, as a rejection of responsibility, truth, and suffering. Many of her longtime fans were upset by this. Could the creator and the art be separated? If the actress who portrayed Clair Huxtable appeared indifferent to other people's pain, was she still a symbol of strength? The question is still open and difficult to answer. Phylicia has mostly been out of the spotlight since the dispute peaked. She has remained dean at Howard, and many students still praise her presence on campus, leadership, and mentoring. However, when she speaks in public or in interviews, the scandal's shadow remains. It is impossible to avoid questions about Bill Cosby. Even her most recent acting gigs in films like Creed or television series like This Is Us come with commentary about her previous statements. To her credit, unlike some famous people, she hasn't doubled down. Her 2021 apologies acknowledged the hurt caused, but it fell short of a retraction. Though more circumspect, she has maintained her composure as usual. Maybe realizing that public opinion isn't operating automatically anymore. In more subdued ways, the scandal has hampered the careers of several cast members. Others have turned away. Others have remained silent but faithful. One thing almost everyone agrees on. The Cosby Show's significance to millions of people is not diminished by what transpired off-screen, but it does compel a more in-depth and agonizing discussion about legacy, power, and injury. Scholars, fans, and cultural critics have all debated in recent years whether or not The Cosby Show should be seen or even remembered. Some contend that one man's transgressions cannot reverse the show's influence on Black identity, education, and representation. Some people feel that its continuous broadcast is insensitive to survivors and serves as a distressing reminder of what went on behind the scenes. The argument is not exclusive to the Cosby program. It parallels comparable conversations about troublesome characters in literature, music, and film. However, the stakes seem larger because of the show's unique place in Black cultural history. Many people can hold two truths: that The Cosby Show was an unquestionably significant work and that its creator caused irreparable harm. For those who grew up identifying with the Huxtables, that intricacy is both tragic and essential. Phylicia Rashad is still considered an icon in many respects. There are several pieces in her body of work. Her influence endures. She is still teaching, acting, and speaking, albeit maybe more cautiously now. She has clearly changed her public image as a result of the Cosby Show issue. What used to be almost universal awe is now more divided into a mixture of respect, disillusionment, compassion, and criticism. Clair Huxtable is no longer who she is. She is a lady who has witnessed the growth and collapse of an empire, who has stood up for a man who others believe cannot be defended, and who still maintains her convictions despite disagreements. How do you feel about the story of Phylicia Rashad? Tell us in the comments section below. Thank you for viewing. Click play on the video that is currently playing on your screen to see more thrilling videos. In order to receive notifications whenever a new video is released, remember to hit the bell, like, and subscribe.